Hello, family. God bless everyone. Hope you're doing well. We will be picking up at in the book of Jasher at chapter 19. And the cities of Sodom had four judges to four cities, and these were their names: Sirach in the city of Sodom, Sharkad in Gomorrah, Zabnach in Admah, and Menon in Zeboim. And Eliezer, Abraham's servant, applied to them different names. And he converted Sirach to Shakra, Sharkad to Shakrura, Zebnach to Kezobim, and Menon to Matzlodin. And by desire of their four judges, the people of Sodom and Gomorrah had beds erected in the streets of the cities. And if a man came to these places, they laid hold of him and brought him to one of their beds, and by force made him to lie in them. And as he lay down, 3 men would stand at his head and 3 at his feet, and measure him by the length of the bed. And if the man was less than the bed, these 6 men would stretch him at each end. And when he cried out to them, they would not answer him. And if he was longer than the bed, they would draw together the 2 sides of the bed at each end until the man had reached the gates of death. And if he continued to cry out to them, they would answer him, saying, "Thus shall it be done to a man that comes into our land." And when men heard all these things that the people of the cities of Sodom did, they refrained from coming there. And when a poor man came to their land, they would give him silver and gold, and cause a proclamation in the whole city not to give him a morsel of bread to eat. And if the stranger should remain there some days and die from hunger, not having been able to obtain a morsel of bread, then at his death, all the people of the city would come and take their silver and gold which they had given him. These some corrupt people, boy. And those that could recognize the silver or gold which they had given him took it back. And at his death, they also stripped him of his garments, and they would fight about them. And he that prevailed over his neighbor took them. They would, after that, carry him and bury him under some of the shrubs in the deserts. So they did all the days to anyone that came to them and died in their land. And in the course of time, Sarah sent Eliezer to Sodom to see Lot and inquire after his welfare. And Eliezer went to Sodom, and he met a man of Sodom fighting with the stranger. And the man of Sodom stripped the poor man of all his clothes and went away. And this poor man cried to Eliezer and supplicated his favor on account of what the man of Sodom had done to him. And he said to him, "Why do you act thus to the poor man who came to your land?" And the man of Sodom answered Eliezer, saying, "Is this man your brother? Or have the people of Sodom made you a judge this day, that you speak about this man?" And Eliezer strove with the man of Sodom on account of the poor man. And when Eliezer approached to recover the poor man's clothes from the man of Sodom, he hurried with a stone, struck Eliezer in the forehead. And the blood flowed copiously from Eliezer's forehead. And when the man saw the blood, he caught hold of Eliezer, saying, "Give me my hire for having rid you of this bad blood that was in your forehead." For such is the custom and the law in our land. And Eliezer said to him, "You have wounded me, and requirest me to pay you your hire?" And Eliezer would not listen to the words of the man of Sodom. And the man laid hold of Eliezer and brought him to Shakra, the judge of Sodom, for judgment. And the man spoke to the judge, saying, "I beseech you, my lord, thus has this man done. For I struck him with a stone, that the blood flowed from his forehead, and he is unwilling to give me my hire." And the judge said to Eliezer, "This man speaks truth to you. Give him his hire, for this is the custom in our land." And Eliezer heard the words of the judge, and he lifted up a stone and struck the judge. And the stone struck on his forehead, and the blood flowed copiously from the forehead of the judge. And Eliezer said, "If this then is the custom in your land, give you to this man what I should have given him. For this has been your decision. You did decree it." And Eliezer left the man of Sodom with the judge, and he went away. And when the kings of Elam had made war with the kings of Sodom, the kings of Elam captured all the property of Sodom, and they took Lot captive with his property. And when it was told to Abram, he went and made war with the kings of Elam. And he recovered from their hands all the property of Lot, as well as the property of Sodom. At that time, the wife of Lot gave birth to him a daughter. And he called her name Paltith, saying, because Elohim had delivered him and his whole household from the kings of Elam. And Paltith, daughter of Lot, grew up, and one of them men of Sodom took her for a wife. And a poor man came into the city to seek a maintenance, and he remained in the city some days. And all the people of Sodom caused a proclamation of their custom not to give this man a morsel of bread to eat until he dropped dead on the earth. And they did so. And Paltith, the daughter of Lot, saw this man lying in the streets, starved with hunger, and no one would give him anything to keep him alive. And he was just on the point of death. And her soul was filled with pity on account of the man. And she fed him secretly with bread for many days. And the soul of this man was revived. For when she went forth to fetch water, she would put the bread in the water pitcher. And when she came to the place where the poor man was, she took the bread from the pitcher and gave it him to eat. So she did many days. And all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah wondered how this man could bear starvation for so many days. And they said to each other, "This can only be that he eats and drinks. For no man can bear starvation for so many days or live as this man has, without even his countenance changing." And 3 men concealed themselves in a place where the poor man was stationed, to know who it was that brought him bread to eat. And Paltith, daughter of Lot, went forth that day to fetch water, and she put bread into her pitcher of water. And she went to draw water by the poor man's place. And she took out the bread from the pitcher and gave it to the poor man, and he ate it. And the 3 men saw that Paltith did to the poor man, saw what Paltith did to the poor man. And they said to her, "It is you then who have supported him, and therefore has he not starved, nor changed in appearance, nor died like the rest." And the 3 men went out of the place in which they concealed, and they seized Paltith and the bread which was in the poor man's hand. And they took Paltith and brought her before their judges. And they said to them, "Thus did she do, and it is she who supplied the poor man with the bread. Therefore, did he not die all this time?" Excuse me. "Now therefore declare to us the punishment due to this woman for having went contrary to our law." And the people of Sodom and Gomorrah assembled and set ablaze a fire in the street of the city. And they took the woman and cast her into the fire, and she was burned to ashes. And in the city of Admah, there was a woman to whom they did the like. For a traveler came into the city of Admah to abide there all night, with the intention of going home in the morning. And he sat opposite the door of the house of the young woman's father to remain there. As the sun had set when he had reached that place, and the young woman saw him sitting by the door of the house, and he asked her for a drink of water, and she said to him, "Who art you?" And he said to her, "I was this day going on the road, and reached here when the sun set. So I will abide here all night, and in the morning I will arise early and continue my journey." And the young woman went into the house and fetched the man bread and water to eat and drink. And this affair became known to the people of Admah. And they assembled and brought the young woman before the judges, that they should judge her for this act. And the judge said, "The judgment of death must pass on this woman, because she went contrary to our law. And this, therefore, is the decision concerning her." And the people of those cities assembled and brought out the young woman, and anointed her with honey from head to foot, as the judge had decreed. And they placed her before a swarm of bees, which were then in their hives. And the bees flew on her and stung her, that her whole body was swelled. And the young woman cried out on account of the bees, but no one took notice of her or pitied her, and her cries ascended to heaven. And the Lord was provoked at this and at all the works of the cities of Sodom, for they had abundance of food and had tranquility among them, and still would not sustain the poor and the needy. And in those days their evil doings and sins became great before the Lord. And the Lord sent for 2 of the angels that had come to Abraham's house to destroy Sodom and its cities. And the angels rose up from the door of Abraham's tent after they had eaten and drunk. And they reached Sodom in the evening. And Lot was then sitting in the gate of Sodom. And when he saw them, he rose to meet them, and he bowed down to the ground. And he pressed them greatly and brought them into his house, and he gave them victuals, which they ate. And they abode all night in his house. And the angels said to Lot, Arise, go forth from this place, you and all belonging to you, that you be consumed in the iniquity of this city, for the Lord will destroy this place. And the angels laid hold on the hand of Lot, and on the hand of his wife, and on the hands of his children, and all belonging to him. And they brought him forth and set him without the cities. And they said to Lot, escape for your life. And he fled, and all belonging to him. Then the Lord rained on Sodom and on Gomorrah and on all these cities brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. And he overthrew these cities, all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities, and that which grew on the ground. And Ado, the wife of Lot, looked back to see the destruction of the cities, for her compassion was moved on account of her daughters who remained in Sodom, for they did not go with her. And when she looked back, she became a pillar of salt. And it is yet in that place to this day. And the oxen which stood in that place daily licked up the salt to the extremities of their feet. And in the morning it would spring forth afresh, and they again licked it up to this day. And Lot and two of his daughters that remained with him fled and escaped to the cave of Adullam. And they remained there for some time. And Abraham rose up early in the morning to see what had been done to the cities of Sodom. And he looked and beheld the smoke of the cities going up like the smoke of a furnace. And Lot and his two daughters remained in the cave, and they made their father drink wine, and they lay with him. For they said there was no man on earth that could raise up offspring from them. For they thought that the whole earth was destroyed. And they both lay with their father, and they conceived and gave birth to sons. And the firstborn called the name of her son Moab. And those are the Moabites, family. Saying, from my father did I conceive him. He is the father of the Moabites to this day. Untrustable. And the younger also called her son Benami. He is the father of the children of Ammon to this day. Our enemies. And after this, Lot and his two daughters went away from there, and he lived on the other side of the Jordan with his two daughters and their sons. And the sons of Lot grew up, and they went and took themselves wives from the land of Canaan. And they had children, and they were prolific and multiplied. Chapter 20. And at that time, Abraham journeyed from the plains of Mamre, and he went to the land of the Philistines, and he lived in Gerar. It was in the 25th year of Abraham's being in the land of Canaan, and the 100th year of the life of Abraham, that he came to Gerar in the land of the Philistines. Our grandfather. And when they entered the land, he said to Sarah, his wife, Say you are my sister to anyone that shall ask you, in order that we may escape the evil of the inhabitants of the land. And as Abraham was dwelling in the land of the Philistines, the servants of Abimelech, king of the Philistines, saw that Sarah was greatly beautiful. And they asked Abraham concerning her. And he said, She is my sister. And the servants of Abimelech went to Abimelech, saying, A man from the land of Canaan is come to dwell in the land, and he has a sister that is exceeding fair. And Abimelech heard the words of his servants who praised Sarah to him. And Abimelech sent his officers, and they brought Sarah to the king. And Sarah came to the house of Abimelech. And the king saw that Sarah was beautiful, and she pleased him greatly. And he approached her and said to her, What is that man to you with whom you did come to our land? And Sarah answered and said, He is my brother, and we came from the land of Canaan to dwell wherever we could find a place. And Abimelech said to Sarah, Behold, my land is before you. Place your brother in any part of this land that pleases you, and it will be our duty to exalt and elevate him above all the people of the land, since he is your brother. And Abimelech sent for Abraham, and Abraham came to Abimelech. And Abimelech said to Abraham, Behold, I have given orders that you shall be honored as you desirest on account of your sister Sarah. And Abraham went forth from the king, and the king's present followed him. As at evening time, before men lie down to rest, the king was sitting on his throne, and a deep sleep fell on him. And he lay on the throne and slept till morning. And he dreamed that an angel of the Lord came to him with a drawn sword in his hand. And the angel stood over Abimelech and wished to kill him with the sword. And the king was terrified in his dream and said to the angel, In what have I sinned against you, that you come to kill me with your sword? And the angel answered and said to Abimelech, Behold, you diest on account of the woman which you did last night bring to your house. For she is a married woman, the wife of Abraham, who came to your house. Now therefore return that man his wife, for she is his wife. And should you not return her, know that you will certainly die, you and all belonging to you. And on that night there was a great outcry in the land of the Philistines. And the inhabitants of the land saw the figure of a man standing with a drawn sword in his hand. And he struck the inhabitants of the land with the sword. Yeah, he continued to strike them. And the angel of the Lord struck the whole land of the Philistines on that night. And there was a great confusion on that night and on the following morning. And every womb was closed, and all their issues, and the hand of the Lord was on them on account of Sarah, wife of Abraham, whom Abimelech had taken. And in the morning, Abimelech rose with terror and confusion and with great dread. And he sent and had his servants called in And he related his dream to them, and the people were greatly afraid. And one man standing among the servants of the king answered the king, saying, O sovereign king, restore this woman to her husband, for he is her husband. For the like happened to the king of Egypt when this man came to Egypt. And he said concerning his wife, she is my sister. For such is his manner of doing when he comes to dwell in the land in which he is a stranger. And Pharaoh sent and took this woman for a wife, and the Lord brought on him grievous plagues until he returned the woman to her husband. Now therefore, O sovereign king, know what happened last night to the whole land, for there was a very great consternation and great pain and lamentation. And we know that it was on account of the woman which you did take. Now therefore, restore this woman to her husband, that it should befall us as it did to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and his subjects, and that we may not die. And Abimelech hurried and called and had Sarah called for. And she came before him, and he had Abraham called for, and he came before him. And Abimelech said to them, what is this work you have been doing in saying you are brother and sister? And I took this woman for a wife. And Abram said, because I thought I should suffer death on account of my wife. And Abimelech took flocks and herds and men servants and maid servants and 1,000 pieces of silver, and he gave them to Abraham. And he returned Sarah to him. And Abimelech said to Abraham, behold, the whole land is before you. Dwell in it wherever you shall choose. And Abraham and Sarah, his wife, went forth from the king's presence with honor and respect, and they lived in the land, even in Gerar. And all the inhabitants of the land of the Philistines and the king's servants were still in pain through the plague which the angel had inflicted on them the whole night on account of Sarah. And Abimelech sent for Abraham, saying, pray now for your servants to the Lord, your Elohim, that he may put away this mortality from among us. And Abraham prayed on account of Abimelech and his subjects. And the Lord heard the prayer of Abraham, and he healed Abimelech and all his subjects. Thank you for listening, family, to the story of our grandfather Abraham. We did not know much, but we know a lot now.